Caroline Cody, Elephant in the Rotunda. Elephant in the Rotunda, Caroline Cody.
Life is about perspective and how you see something. Whitney Wolfe Herd goes on to say, ultimately, you have to zoom out. Madam Toastmaster and fellow Zoomers, picture this. It's 5:20 p.m. in Washington, D.C., and I'm scurrying like a white rabbit with a pocket watch. I'm late for a very important shopping mission at the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History. You see, before I left Canada, a dear friend, Ellie, had promised to look after my precious plants and water them. And she only made one request. How could I refuse? And that was to find a beautiful, glossy museum book that her 8-year-old son could flip through and feel like he too visited the museum. This was before the days of virtual museum tours. Now, albeit the Museum of Natural History was open till 8 p.m., the gift store was closing in 10 minutes. As I scurried up to the security guard who started to search through my bag, I scanned the 4-story rotunda for some sign of the gift store. I saw the letter I for information and was drawn to it the way the world has been drawn to toilet paper. Mr. Information Desk person, please, could you tell me where the gift store is? Continue through the rotunda, down the hallway on the left. I burst into the gift store, grabbed that book, and ran to the counter and slammed my credit card down. Whew, 2 minutes to spare. With my newly purchased treasure in hand, I took a breath and said, "Oh, before I tour your beautiful museum, could you please tell me the way to the restroom?" Yes, go back down the hallway to the rotunda, past the elephant, down the escalator. Excuse me? Elephant? There was no elephant in the rotunda. But how could one miss an elephant? Really? Okay. Whoa. There, rising over 13 feet, that's like 2 stories, was an enormous elephant with the weight of a jet fighter and ears that would put Dumbo to shame. Have you ever been in such a rush that you miss things? Maybe pause, zoom out, and breathe in perspective. As I stood there looking at that enormous elephant, I was reminded of an African tale where a bit of a spin on it went something like this. Day in and day out, the villagers would rush down to the river and pull out dead baby elephants for a proper burial. This went on for weeks and weeks. And then one villager looked at the situation fellow villagers, why don't we go upstream and find out what's happening and maybe help the baby elephants before they die? Pause, zoom out, and breathe in perspective. These days, we are all struggling with the pandemic. How is it been affecting you? Are you in reactive mode, maybe a bit of panic buying, or a lot? Are you missing opportunities because you feel too busy or too bored? And how are you making your decisions based on the here and now, or looking at the big picture? Consider, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests, to look at being more proactive, to seize opportunities, and to make more impactful decisions. Metaphorically, don't miss the enormous elephant in the rotunda, or focus only on pulling out dead baby elephants. I invite you all to pause, zoom out, and breathe in perspective. Madam Toastmaster.
Ray Bartol, Unforgettable Memories. Unforgettable Memories. Ray Bartol.
Author Rick Warren once said, "You may have a poor memory, but you will remember what's important to you." That makes perfect sense to me, because we can remember moments from long ago, but yet so many other memories are lost in the fog of forgetfulness. Madam Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters, today I'm going to share 3 important memories that I have never forgotten. First, I'm going to take you to a small mining town in northern Manitoba. I'm just 4 years old. I'm playing on the kitchen floor with a small truck. Off to my right is a big black wood-burning cast iron stove. This memory is so vivid that I can smell the burning wood, and I can feel the heat emanating from that stove. As I played, something made me look up, and I made eye contact with my mother. It really surprised me when I saw the expression on her face, because she never smiled. She looked very, very sad. And maybe that's why I remember this memory, because as a 4-year-old, it probably confused me. And that was the end of the memory. Why is that moment important? Well, because shortly after that, our mother just walked out of our lives. She left me, my older brother and sister, and our father, and just left. Several years later, my older sister explained what happened. She said our father was an alcoholic, and he drank and he gambled all the money away. And for her mother, it was impossible. She just found it so hard to bring up 3 kids when she couldn't feed them properly. She couldn't buy them clothes. And finally, she just gave up and decided she was going to leave. She had a bit of a mental breakdown before she left. She took all the family treasures and she burned them. She took all the pictures of her wedding, all the pictures of us kids, all the pictures of herself, and anything else that reminded us of our family, and burnt them in one of those big 45-gallon burning barrels everyone had in their backyard. It was as if she wanted to eradicate us from her life completely. And then she left. I would never see her again. I would never speak to her again. I would never read anything she wrote. She was simply gone. One thing I remember from that time that has really stayed with me is that if a mother's love is unconditional and constant, it must have been devastating emotionally for her to leave 3 small kids behind, knowing she would never see them again. I felt so bad about that. because she probably lived with it for the rest of her life. But not all memories are sad. There's also happy memories. I'm 22 years old, and it's such an exciting time because I'm in the delivery room of the Mississauga General Hospital, and my wife has just given birth to our son. The nurses took him away and cleaned him up and wrapped him in his pure white blanket and brought him back to my wife to hold. A few minutes later, they brought him over to me to hold. Wow. I looked at my wife and looked down at my son, who was maybe 12 minutes old, and I said to her, "Look what we made." Well, everybody laughed. The nurses laughed, the doctor laughed, even my wife laughed. But I was excited and I couldn't help it. So yes, some memories can be sad, some can be happy, but there's also memories that can trigger defining moments in our life. And I'm going to tell you about one. I was 55 years old. I had a long career as an endurance athlete. I ran several dozen marathons. I finished Ironman triathlon 12 times, and it was and still is one of the most demanding endurance races in the world. And when my career was over, I decided that I would write a book to inspire other people who wanted to take on this amazing race. About 9 months later, I received an email, and it was from the United Kingdom. And this fellow said, "You know, I was looking up at my Ironman triathlon finisher picture, and I just had to reach out to you." When I first heard about this race, I thought it was way beyond my level of ability, but I really wanted to do it. When I mentioned it to my family, I mentioned it to my friends, they all said the same thing. "No, it's not for you. It's too hard. You could never do that." But then one day someone handed me your book, and I read it from cover to cover. And when people said, "I couldn't do it," in your book, you said, "I could." When people said, "You shouldn't even try," you said, "Oh yes, I should." And then there were those people that said, "You can't do it. It's way over your head." You said, "No, it's not. You can do it because I believe in you. Now you just have to believe in yourself." Well, he said, I chose to trust in you, and I entered that race and I crossed that finish line. And I just want you to know that you changed my life for the better forever. Thank you. Well, that was a revelation. That email was the catalyst for me to write 7 more books. I wrote 7 more books to inspire as many people as I could, because I learned from that we're all capable of inspiring others. We all leave our footprints in the sands of life. But it's when we take a step back and just take a minute to inspire others to become more than they ever thought possible. That's when we truly make a difference in this world. That's when we leave a legacy that will live long after we're gone. So why is it that we can remember these individual moments, but so much else is forgotten? I believe it's because our hearts and minds are so closely linked that when something really emotional happens, it is burned indelibly into our memory bank, and it stays there forever. And in the doing, it overshadows everything else around it, and that's why we forget so much. The human mind is as perplexing and mysterious as it is magical. So what memories can you conjure up? What memories can you pull out of the fog of forgetfulness? We all have memories that are important to us. What are yours? Contest chair.
Eva Gaia, what is the flavor of your lemonade? What is the flavor of your lemonade? Eva Gaia.
There are many kinds of lemonade available. I'm sure you have tried and made a few kinds. There is the traditional sweet one, the herbal one, the citric, very sour, almost hard to drink one. Lemonade, my friends, it's an easy analogy for life and its different phases. Life is a constant change, and with it, we all get sweet and sour moments. The commonality among all of us is that we all get those flavors. Sweet and sour ones don't skip anyone. The thing about this very special, challenging moment of our life is that we're being given tons of lemons every day for the very first time in history, worldwide, every single one of us. Before I share a bit of hope, let's take a moment to acknowledge every single negative emotion that a lot of us might have felt or is currently struggling with. Let's recognize that we are all living moments of fear, discomfort, sadness, frustration. In our family, we believe that we are creatures of greatness, and because of it, we have the capability of rise above every challenge. Or I should say, we have the ability to make a sweet, delicious drink out of sour lemons. Can I share with you some of those very special sweet ingredients that I have found during this situation? Time with my family. When presented with the challenge of staying locked down in our home with our two small children, 6 and 8 years old, and I must add, two boys, two very energetic, very active boys, I thought, well, that's certainly a handful of lemons thrown at once. I work full time, and it requires me to be in front of a computer for many hours, writing emails, attending calls, delivering presentations. My husband, on the other hand, would normally be out and about, taking care of our business and hustling. He's such a hustler. What were we to do to keep everything afloat? Well, it certainly took a growth mindset, a routine to follow, and a lot of compromising. Do we have it perfect? Not remotely close, far from perfection. Every day, it feels like an adventure. We have those very sweet, delicious days, well, mostly moments, all the way to those sour, very citric days, those ones that you just want them to be over with. When I finally able to put my head down and rest, I start thinking about the blessings of the day. I realized that I have never been able to be with my family for such a long time. For instance, I have never been able to eat lunch on a weekday with them. Our lunch together would be left for the weekends only. My regular lunch at a normal time would be heating up whatever I have brought from home and sitting down in front of my computer, continue to work. What an opportunity to be close to them, to spend that mundane time, to sow in them, to learn from them, to be part of those special little moments of the day. The opportunity behind a problem concept, or I should say, the ability to make lemonade out of sour lemons, has shown me that we must embrace this time and work really hard on the person that is going to become through this, the one that is going to look at the past and say, I am proud of myself, I did it. Because through this struggle, I am stronger. Ask yourself, what lessons are you taking out of this situation? What changes are you currently implementing or will you be making to come a bit closer to that better version of ourselves that I know we're all striving for? To everyone that is watching now, I say, What an amazing opportunity do we have to impact each other through technology, through this incredible platform. How about we stop playing small and realize this is a very special time to make a positive change to you, to your family, to your community? How about we start playing so big they can't ignore us? Jeremiah Watkins, a pastor of a badly attacked church in the US, gave us a great example of turning real sour, lots of lemons, into a delicious, sweet drink. He inspired me, and I want to paraphrase him for you today with this: to despair, discomfort, hate, we say no. Not today, not in our heart, not in our mind, not in our soul. Instead, we say yes to love, compassion, appreciation, understanding. We let those emotions be our tour guide. Lastly, I want to ask you, how is your lemonade going to taste like? You already got the lemons. What are you waiting for? Start squeezing. We like it sweet. Madam Toastmasters.
Mourn rather than day. 3 R's. 3 R's. Mourn rather than day.
Good morning. April 22nd was our Planet Earth Day. A lot of people ask questions like how we can contribute to our planet. To honor this day, to answer questions like this, I decided to talk about a lifestyle, a conscious plan, or simply drawing more attention to 3 R's. These 3 R's come from waste management hierarchy. The goal of waste management hierarchy is to extract maximum amount of maximum benefit from a material and to produce minimum amount of waste. If we can do that properly, we would be able to limit emission of greenhouse gases, reduce pollutants, conserve our resources, save energy, stimulate our economy through development of new technologies. The first R is reduce. The emphasis on reducing of extraction of raw materials. On a daily basis, we buy a lot of desired items. They come with unwanted items because those unwanted items are necessary for packaging or containing the desired items. We have a very good chance in reducing at least the unwanted items. How come? An example, you go to a coffee shop. You know that you are going to sit in the coffee shop, enjoy your drink. So when you order your coffee, you ask your coffee to come with China cup rather than paper cup. In that case, you reduce consumption of paper cup and raw materials that are needed to produce that paper cup. The second R is reuse. We are trying to extend the life of a material. I bought this reusable bag in 2009. It's almost 11 years that I'm using it every week. I put it in the back of my car to make sure I never forget about bringing it to grocery store. Think about that coffee shop example. During work at break, you know that you are going to walk to a coffee shop. So maybe you can bring your own reusable mug and reuse it over and over. Reuse could be in other forms like repurposing. I bought pickles, and once pickles were gone, I decided to use the glass jar for storage of beans. I gave this glass jar a new life. I extended the life of this glass jar. Reuse could also be in the form of repair. You may have a faulty device. The problem might be simply a fuse or a lamp. You may be able to watch some videos on YouTube and learn how to do something small like replacing fuse and then bring back your device into service. And if none of them applies to you, you may think to let other people reuse it for you. You may be surprised how fast your item may be picked up from your house once you advertise it on Kijiji, especially if you put a giveaway price on the item. And the third R is recycling. We try to minimize amount of waste in this stage. We try to recycle and recover as much material as possible from an item, if not all of that item. Think about that coffee shop example. If for any reason you couldn't use a method in reduce or reuse and you had to order your coffee in a paper cup, once you are done with your coffee, think about how to have that paper cup recycled properly. Getting back to my question at the beginning of my speech, how we can contribute to our planet Earth so that our planet can serve us even better. Not only us, our future generations, our kids, grandkids, grandkids' kids. You may try to incorporate 3 R's into your lifestyle. The first R is reduce. Second R is reuse, which could be in the form of repurposing or repairing. And the third R is recycle. Get back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Angie Han, be kind like Nicole. Be kind like Nicole. Angie Han.
I have a friend. Her name is Nicole Mary Frances Anthony, Nicole for short. She is from Long Island, New York. Nicole won America's Favorite Player at the end of the last season of Big Brother, America. America may not know how to choose their president, but they sure know how to choose their favorite reality TV player. For those of you that don't know, Big Brother is a game. You compete against others in physical and mental competitions. The ultimate goal is to be the final person standing. It's a very cutthroat game. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, I'm going to tell you about Nicole Mary Frances Anthony, what Nicole has taught me about being kind and why it matters to be kind like Nicole. Nicole is skinny. She wears funky glasses that frame her hazel eyes, and she's very quirky. She wears bright, sparkly jackets and colorful shirts with rainbows and unicorns on them. She is like no one I know. She is herself, and she does it amazingly well. In week 4 of the 14-week run of Big Brother, Nicole experienced a horrendous incident of group bullying. She cried herself to sleep that whole week on national TV, but she remained herself, managed to survive in the game until the finale and came out as America's favorite player. How did she do this? By being quirky, forgiving, and very kind. Kind is one of the most misunderstood words ever. People think that it's just about being nice, and it's something that I thought I was. But being truly kind is so much more. It's taking countless extra steps to notice everyone. It's truly believing that no one is ugly, and it's treating everyone as an equal. Nicole taught me to forgive with no conditions, to be unapologetically myself, and how to be truly kind. She's completely redefined the word kind for me. Here's how to be kind like Nicole. Nicole is an influencer, which means she has a lot of followers. She has over 147,000 followers on Instagram. When you have this many followers, you dive deep into paid sponsorships and make a lot of money. But not Nicole. All her posts are ad-free and promote 3 things: love, friendship, and positivity. Her posts celebrate actual calendar days like National Unicorn Day, Friendship Day, and Being Fabulously You Day. Here's how Nicole redefines kind. She'll go through her posts and reply to every single comment she gets. She gets hundreds of comments, and she gets replies to her replies, and she replies to them all. Please know that celebrities and influencers never do this. She adds and follows people who support her. They can be anybody. Doesn't matter what you look like, who you are, or if you're famous or not. You can be a nobody. She added me as a friend, and let me be painfully honest, I am an absolute nobody. Yet this gesture made me feel like a somebody. That's kind. Be kind like Nicole. So why does this matter? Do you remember what it felt like as a child to never be picked for a team? What it felt like to be bullied? Do you know what it feels like now to not be included? Do you know what it feels like to not be noticed at all? I did, and there are times where I still do. And even though I've had amazing life experiences, there are times where I am a child. I am that child. I am the child that considers taking her life because no one notices her. During this quarantine time, how social media is used is so important. You, your kids, your grandkids, your parents, your grandparents, they're all using it. And if they're not already familiar with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and even TikTok, they will be exposed to it before this pandemic is over. And just like how being kind in what we used to call the real world is important, being kind in the social media world is crucial, because this social media world is now our real world. And during this quarantine time, it matters more than ever. Listen to me. People you know are committing suicide. People you know that seem so happy and fine are contemplating suicide because no one notices them. Maybe, like me, they need that one person who means a lot to them to notice them in return. They need that one person who they admire to admire them back. They need their Nicole Mary Francis Anthony. And this is why I ask you to be kind like Nicole. In fact, I challenge you to take Nicole's strategy of kindness in a cutthroat game and make it fabulously yours. Let me remind you how to be kind like Nicole. See the beauty in everyone, even if it's well hidden. Follow people on social media, even if they aren't popular and not influencers. And when you become an influencer, post about love, friendship, and positivity without making a single penny. If you want to make a difference in the game of life, be kind. Be kind like Nicole. Madam Toastmaster.
The International Speech Contest. Let's see now. 3 finishers in the top spots, 5 contestants, maybe another drum roll. Here we go, starting in spot number 3. Spot number 3, we have Ray Fateau. In spot number 3, Ray Fateau. Good work, Ray. You can turn your video on. In spot number 2, we have Carolyn Caldy. In spot number 2, international, Carolyn Caldy. Great work, Carolyn. And in spot number 1 for the international speech contest, we have Angie Hung. Angie, turn your video on. Thank you very much, you 3. I am going to turn my video off so Marcy can collect photos of you all. Very well done.